What's going on, y'all? It's your boy DConey of DConey Art, and I am here to do something I haven't done in quite a while. What's that? We talking about a trailer review. First and foremost, if you have not seen Avengers Endgame, you definitely want to go ahead and pause this, go to the movies and watch that, come back, and then hit play to pick up what we talking about today. So we're definitely gonna jump in today to Spider-Man Far From Home trailer number 2 that released on YouTube, all across social media, and of course we want to talk about it. Not only if you are a Spider-Man fan like myself, but also if you're just a Marvel Universe fan. Where does this tie into with the Marvel Cinematic Universe? What is to come from these stories that'll pick up the mantle from what was left in the Endgame? I need to do a separate review on that. I've been slipping, I know, because I gotta admit, this will be the second time I watched it. I watched it earlier, just kind of on my phone, and this will be the second time I watch it, you know, and kind of digest how I feel. So let's get into it.
The Spider-Man Far From Home trailer is about to play, but if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame yet, stop watching because there's some serious spoilers about to come up. But if you have seen Avengers Endgame, enjoy the trailer.
Everywhere I go, I see his face. Just reminiscing.
Yeah, I miss him too. I don't think Tony would have done what he did if he didn't know that you were going to be here after he was gone.
That's cool.
You gonna be the next Iron Man now?
Well, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy doing your job.
Oh.
I'm kidding. Look, keep up the good work because I am going on vacation.
Okay.
Heads up. Nick Fury's calling you.
I don't really want to talk to Nick
Answer
Fury.
the phone.
Why?
Because if you don't talk to him, then I have to talk. I don't want to talk to him. You sent Nick Fury to voicemail?
I gotta go.
You do not ghost Nick Fury.
What up, dorks? What's up? We're just talking about the trip.
I'm here in St. Marco Polo.
Oh, I think MJ really likes me. That reminds me when I first fell in love.
You're a very difficult person to contact, Spider-Man.
I like they got my blood.
This is Mr. Beck.
It could use someone like you on my world.
Your world? Beck is from Earth, just not ours. A snap to our hole in our dimension.
You're saying there's a multiverse?
We have a job to do, and you're coming with us.
There's gotta be someone else you can use. What about Thor?
Off-world.
Captain Marvel?
Unavailable.
But I'm just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
Right.
What do you want, Peter? I want to go back on my trip with the girl who I really like and tell her how I feel. MJ, I
am Spider-Man.
No, of course I'm not.
I mean, it's kind of obvious.
You're right, you may not be ready, but this is my responsibility. Saving the world requires sacrifice. Sometimes people die.
I'm still talking about saving the world.
I just always feel like I put my friends in danger. The world needs the next Iron Man.
You're going to step up or not?
I work with Spider-Man.
You work for Spider-Man?
I work with Spider-Man, not for Spider-Man. New plan.
Okay, let's stop that. There's a lot that was covered in that. That was a lot. So the good, the bad, and everything else. Okay. So the good is really cool to see. First and foremost, the multiverse. That's like the first thing that sticks out. It's cool. So there's so much story that can be told, kind of like the Infinity Stones and the Infinity War, where with those stones, there's so many different twists and turns you can go through. It's the same thing here with the multiverse. And with the multiverse, hopefully, it's focused more on Spider-Man. I like the scene with the bank robbers. It reminds you a lot of the PlayStation game. So anybody that has a PlayStation 4 and has played this past release of Spider-Man, the game, knows exactly what I'm talking about. That pretty much embodied Spider-Man how we wanted to see it. So that scene with him webbing everybody up and the different suit, that was kind of cool. Now the bad, I'm gonna have to jump right into it. I'm not a fan of, just like in the previous review that I did on Homecoming, I'm not a fan of what MCU has done with our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I gotta say it, I'm not a fan. And what they've done and they continue to pound is that mostly for the large percentage of this character, what they have shown us is that he is a product and lives up to and is highly influenced by Tony Stark. And they have made Tony Stark this version of the character's Uncle Ben, which I think is a dangerous place to play because it takes the individuality of that character. His substance stems from another superhero. And I don't really like that. They even reference it, are you the next Iron Man? He kind of like indirectly answers it.
You gonna be the next Iron Man now?
Well, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy doing your jobs.
Oh.
But really you are, you know what I'm saying? Like, even the way they set up the movie where he's like, can I live up to Iron Man's, Tony Stark's legacy and shoes?
The world needs the next Iron Man.
Are you going to step up or not?
And I feel like that is a disrespect to the character of Peter Parker. He was a genius before he met Tony Stark. It kind of just, his resources helped enhance Peter, but he was never like a Flacky or a sidekick. They have reduced him in this Marvel Cinematic Universe to pretty much Robin, if you will. And that's disrespectful. As a Spider-Man fan, I'm not cool with that. It would also been cool to see Spider-Man, and hopefully we do, but we only just basing off the trailer, but hopefully, you know, we're holding everything out to the movie, obviously. But it'd be cool to see him actually in New York. I've referenced this in the other video, to introduce a new Spider-Man into a new chapter of movie making. So we had the Tobey Maguire era, we had the Andrew Garfield era, now we have the Tom Holland era. If you're gonna introduce him, you still, to me as a fan, you gotta give me the core of the product that I'm coming to partake of. I feel like the liberties that they're taking with this franchise are tampering with the core of the character.
I feel like that's on me.
Uncle Ben was a representation of humanity, of the regular you and I, middle class worker that has to get his own. Spider-Man, he had made his suit, you know, and you know, even if you made some tech stuff that somebody can do, like a hacker or anything like that, he made his suit. Not here, it was given to him by Tony Stark. You know, he had to wash his suit, repair his suit. Not here, he just gets an upgrade by Tony Stark. You know, everything is Tony Stark enabled. Spider Sense, his ability to do whatever he wanted to do off of his organic enhanced abilities, which is what made him cool. Here, everything's given to him, and it even looks like now he's equipped with shield again, with that whole thing. It's like he never gets to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and they even kind of poke fun at it. Like, what about your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? Bitch, you've been into space. It's like, yeah, so we've never really received that story building. Even if you don't want to tell an origin story, it's a way to build the story and the fundamentals. There's been no flashbacks. There's been no, you know, reference of time and story before these introductions. They've just full pedal to the metal, all gas, baby, and replaced some of the core products and have taken very large liberties with supporting characters that are questionable to me as a viewer. I'm not digging I understand why they have to do it I understand within the whole means of the story, passing on the torch and idolizing Tony Stark, but I don't like that my man Spider-Man is taking that flunky ass role, like straight up. They're doing it so early in this franchise. It's so heavily comparing him to Iron Man and having Iron Man have influenced him that I'm concerned that they'll be able to go back and tell some of the stories that we oh so love about Spider-Man as an individual. Some of those, you know, they already messed up the Venom story. How are they going to tell that in an organic way that we'll love it for not only some of its nostalgia, but then take the nostalgia and make it new? I think that they're just tampering with it way too much. And for other movies that had to work with less to get so much shit, and then you take so many liberties and throw them in there as a lackey to hear, and this get praised so much, I'm not cool with it. So what am I saying? I'm saying I'm not buying the BS. They're attaching principles of what we love with Spider-Man. So they throw the suit in there. They throw the other heroes that we've been dying to see him fight alongside, whatever. But then they reduce him to a lackey. They reduce him to a bumbling idiot. They reduce him to a child who doesn't really know what's going on. You know, I'm good on that, man. And if you want to know where most of this energy is coming from, check out the first video where I covered a lot of my distaste for what they were doing with the character back when Homecoming was made, and it's still a lot of that stands true. I won't spend too much time in this video, but I do like that the multiverse is introduced, so it does give the invitation to jump down the rabbit hole again. I do like that there's a story that is to be told. The other thing is, I'm not really feeling that everybody's knowing who he is. Aunt May knows who he is. You know, Mary Jane or
whatever, Michelle they're calling her, MJ.
She knows who he is. You know, Ned knows who he is. Everybody knows who he is. So what's the point of being this, you know, this secret identity, you know? And I feel like they're introducing, while very cool and storytelling is able to happen here, they're introducing the multiverse. My concern is that they haven't evenly laid out this character well enough outside of the pop hype and the camaraderie hype of other movies and being in other movies. They haven't established this character very well to me. And to introduce other multiverses, it's kind of weird. So it'll be interesting to see how they now build him into a leader, and hopefully it works where it feels organic and I get this nasty taste out of my mouth that he's only becoming a leader, not because of with great power comes great responsibility taught by Uncle Ben, but that he's becoming a leader now to lead up or fill the shoes of the fallen soldier Iron Man. It's a way different origin story, which fundamentally changes the why and the essence of the character. And nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody's saying that that's okay, and it's really not Peter. And I'm cool with everything else. I'm cool with everything else, but I gotta call bullshit on that. You can't tie so many things that I like to bullshit. Like the core of it is still bullshit. Until that is, you know, addressed, it'll just be BS. The PlayStation 4 story was much more popular because they kept core elements of the Peter Parker that we know, Spider-Man we know, so forth and so on. But what did you think about the trailer? Are you going for the hype? Are you going for the marketing ploy to just kind of get us involved? Or do you see the same issues and loopholes that I see that kind of cause for some attention before we move on in such big worlds like the multiverse and, you know, further leadership in the Avengers? Tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your questions. Sorry if this video was all over the place, but I love to continue the conversation on Twitter. Hashtag Spider-Man Far From Home. And it'd be great to kind of see what you guys feel about it. So if you're feeling this video, make sure that you hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe. And let's continue the conversation in the comments or by tagging or sharing this video with a friend. I I'd love to hear what you have to think about it after hearing my thoughts and what you thought about the trailer. So hopefully we'll see, what it's all about here in July, and look for hopefully more trailers or the movie Spider-Man Far From Home hitting theaters this July. And I will see y'all when I see y'all. Peace. DConey out.